It's a pleasure to meet you too. So for myself, it began quite early. From an early age, I was brought up as a classical singer. A family of musicians, piano teachers. My sister plays cello, violin. My other sisters both play piano. My granddad played piano, accordion. So there's been a lot of musical stuff in my family line since I was young. So I was obviously brought up doing that kind of music, which led me to be inspired by classical stuff. I later moved on to more heavier stuff when I was about 19. I picked up a guitar around 18. Metallica, Black Album, and an album by Extreme called Pornography were the two ones that really made me want to do this. And that's kind of, it grew from there really. I started with some bands in university and colleges with friends. I've always been someone to want to write music rather than learn other people's music. I've always thought to myself, well, I can spend time learning, or I can get to writing, and that has both good points and bad points. The good points is that you write more music than everyone else. The bad points is that you don't always learn all the techniques that you might have otherwise have learned by playing other people's music. But there are obstacles you overcome, and you know, if you're a musician and you are into that kind of stuff, then you will find a way, and that's it. So that's kind of how I got to doing bands. Then I joined Devilment. I was doing Conflict Within, a band in Essex, sort of a county, which is bordering Suffolk. And Pip, myself, Dex, 4 of those members are actually in Ghost of Atlantis now. So that history of Ghost of Atlantis really started with that band, spanning back like 15 years now. I then took a break from doing that band and went off to do Devilment with my guys in that, and girl. That seems to have hit a bit of a roadblock now, so that looks like it's finally done. So I had to look at other options, and the options were make something that's even more bombastic and is even more kick-ass than Devilment. So that's what I did. You know, made something which is better, and that's the way to do it. Is, you know, when life throws you lemons, tread on them. No. The thing was, like, I sat there for a while, sort of procrastinating on, you know, will that band start to do something again, or is it something that's not going to happen? And then after time, it became quite evident that other people in the band weren't so full of hope as I was, let's just say, because they got other things they want to do, which is a higher priority, and that's fair enough. But you know, I'm not going to sit on my hands. I'm someone who's creative, and I have to spend that time creating, otherwise I'm not in a good space. So yeah, I started off doing the Ghost of Atlantis thing. We had a few member changes at the beginning. We had mentioned the name before, actually, with a completely different set of people. We were looking at starting a band about 4 or 5 years ago now. So that's how Ghost of Atlantis was born, so to speak. It was born out of the ashes of the Conflict Within, and all the skills that I learnt during Devilment, I brought through into the Ghost of Atlantis. So that's how the band was formed and how the band came to fruition. So for me, I guess the appeal of symphonic heavy metal was the fact you had these merging of big classical ideas and this just brutality of metal, whether it be death metal, black metal, thrash metal, whatever metal, any kind of metal, titanium, whatever, heavy metal. It's all good. Like when you merge them across, they became this thing, and it was quite unique to me at the time. I hadn't heard much of it, so of course, being someone with classical backgrounds and like hearing this new heavy metal stuff, it kind of was like, it was cool. It was really cool. So that's what kind of got me into that soundscape, and yeah, things just kind of followed on from there, really. And yeah, that's where we are with that. So that depends, really. This is a kind of a band which is quite unusual in the fact that I more or less write all the stuff. So the guitars, the orchestras, a lot of the lyrics, patterns for vocals, clean singing. The drummer will write some of the drums for me, but I'll write quite a lot of the drums. The bass player will write his own bass lines, which is great. But in many ways, it's kind of something that I do here at the studio. It is then given to the band, and the band then learn their parts. And if they want to change things, they can. If they want to add ideas, they can. And then it becomes the ghost of Atlantis. Certainly, things like Phil's lyrical input is very important. That helps a great deal with crafting the sort of your mind's eye as to what the band's sort of ideology is in terms of sound and storytelling. But in terms of sound, I guess the thing that takes the longest is just all the prep work. I mean, having to learn the orchestras, I'd never done them before the first album, but you know, I couldn't afford to be in a situation where I paid someone £2,000 to do orchestras, so learn them myself. Let's go. You know, I've got a classical upbringing. I've got a studio which, you know, I built in the back of my house, in the garden that's outside. So all the tools are there. I just got to graft now and not be lazy. So that's what I did. I just grafted and learned. And yeah, so the answer to that question is what takes a lot of time? All of it. My biggest influences personally, guitar-wise, don't know anymore. If you'd asked me 10 years ago, I would have said James Hetfield, possibly Dimmy Borgir, Alexi from Bodom. These days, my influences on guitar are actually not even in the metal genre. They're much more in the blues and other genres now. Just get to pull out some of the old Fenders and old 60s amps. So I guess in some ways, I'm more inspired by those guys. I feel in terms of the metal genre, I've kind of found my sound and what I'm good at and my strengths and my weaknesses. So inspiration from that, I guess, has already been, it's up to like level 10 already. Like In Flames, Soilwork, like I said, Dimmy Borgir, Gimme Burger, At the Gates, Chimera, Metallica. But yeah, loads of Parkway Drive. John Mayer, Pink Floyd, there is so many. Kenny Wayne Shepherd, you know, we listen to so much stuff. There's so many different, Andrea Bocelli, Craig Armstrong. There's so many different influences that I have that is not just metal, that you will hear in our stuff, even though it's not just metal. And of course, my friend Drake Mephisto, he's also an influence on me musically. I'm in a band with Diamorte, called Diamorte with, and he's a fantastic composer in terms of piano and ideas, absolutely brilliant. And he actually lent his work to a few tracks on this album. Lands of Snow, he helped me with some of that. Behind the Wall, The Alchemist, and the piano section in Riddles of the Sycophant. So Drake's a really big, important part of our sound as well, and I think sometimes that goes a little bit unnoticed. And I do the same for him. Like I write riffs for him and vocals for his projects, and you know, we kind of co-write together, and a lot of the time we hit gold, which is really nice. So yeah, I guess out of everyone in terms of inspirations now, he's probably the one that I probably work closest with and inspires me to do stuff when I hear his stuff. And he'll send me stuff and I'll do the vocals for the singers in that band, because obviously it's like an operatic metal band, and that'll inspire me and vice versa. So there you go. There's the influences for myself. Elitism can go swivel. Literally go swivel. Honestly, couldn't care. I've played loads of shows where we've been on black metal shows, and there you've got the grumpy lot at the front, arms crossed. It's clean singing. I couldn't give a toss. Like literally, I couldn't care less what you think about clean singing. You know, just because you can sit there, do that for 10 minutes, that doesn't impress me either. So whatever. Elitism can go stick it. There's no need to be elitist. I mean, if you don't like what you don't like, that's fine. But just zip it, keep your mouth shut, and enjoy what you do like. What's the point in whinging? No one cares anyway. So shut whinging. Yeah, boy. No news as such, really. That band's on hiatus. Danny's off doing Cradle of Filth again, and he's very busy with that. I'm busy doing this and managing bands and stuff as well, and working. And I don't really see much of a future for that band at the moment, which is sad because obviously album 3's done. It's been on my computer for 5 years, and it probably will never see the light of day. But that's how it is, and if it doesn't, you'll hear those songs again because they'll come out. I'll use them somewhere anyway, so don't worry, they'll be out. So not much to report on that, I'm afraid, at the moment. Yeah, anything changes, I'll obviously update people. But keep your eyes on the socials. They're not very active at the moment, but yeah, if anything happens, you'll be the first to know on there. Cheers. So regards to future plans, so I'm doing a solo album at the moment, which is something just mainly for myself, really, and for the people that have been kind enough to follow me over the years. It's not metal. It's yeah, it's very different. But it's just something I want to do, you know, for myself, really. I'm also now managing some international bands and stuff, which is great. I'm enjoying that a lot, and I'm hoping to really push a lot of my focus into helping those bands achieve what I want them to achieve and what they deserve to achieve as well. So that's where I am at the moment. Advice to bands would be just keep going at it and just realise that it's just it's a long old slog, and it's not going to happen overnight unless you're very, very lucky, and you've got something that's very, very unique and it just blows up, which can happen, does happen. But of course, you know, the world is obviously an industry dictated by the pop industry and, you know, the popular music side of things. So it's always harder to make inroads when you're playing in a metal band or writing for a metal band. But just keep at it, and just know that there's things you're going to need to sacrifice, and that is time, finances, and, you know, possibly family time, stuff that you would do with your families, stuff that you would do going to bed at normal times, going out with your friends, that kind of stuff. If you want to really achieve stuff, then, you know, you need to kind of be on it. And if you're going out partying all the time, then that's a song you could be writing. If you're, you know, constantly at family barbecues, or you're off doing this or that, that's another song you can be writing. So it's a case of trying to get the balance, but keep at it. Don't throw anyone else under the bus whilst doing it, but stay true to yourself and don't let anyone stop you doing it. Because if they do, and if you're anything like me, then it will just make you miserable. So keep at it and push.
Scorch the wings of these barren life of men. Now they bring upon this curse with their greed. The freezing blaze now cover.
Yeah, so I'd love to tour in Sri Lanka. It'd be amazing. I'm someone who likes travelling. I like cultures. I like people. I like experiencing as much as the world can offer. I mean, you're only on it once, so I mean, it's important to see as much as you can. I've been lucky enough to travel and stuff touring, and been to many countries. But no, I've never been to Sri Lanka, so I'd absolutely love that. So yeah, that would be pretty swish, I reckon.